I'm Emma Richardson. I work for Northumberland County Council and I'm strategic lead for the holiday programme in Northumberland. So the holiday activity provision in Northumberland has been an evolving model for the last, 5 or 6 years and beyond actually. And the purpose of it is it acknowledges that holidays are challenging for lots of different reasons for families. And it's about easing pressure, but more than that, giving enrichment, opportunities for youngsters to make friends, for family households to for the costs to be a bit managed as well, or all kinds of other pressures that we all know we face. And it's about youngsters just having the best time to return to school, ready to learn, lots of great stories, making memories, and also about giving them ideas for things they might want to do more of as young people or even into their futures. So today we're at Stomping Ground and it's fab. It's a forest school. It's a place where it's wild, there's a lot of wood, there's tools, there's fire, they make their own lunch and all sorts of things, and there's boundaries. What's really interesting, there's flags around and the children don't go past because the space is so big anyway.
What's really exciting about Forest School is that there are many opportunities that we provide which children wouldn't usually get an opportunity to take part in. They can often be quite risky, but they're very, very heavily managed risks. We're encouraging children to manage their own risks, to realise what they can and can't do to sort of challenge their own capabilities, but in a really safe way. So things like using an axe to make a mallet. We sometimes fell small trees together as a team, using hand tools, lighting fires, cooking on a fire. We've got children as young as 5 that'll be cooking around the fire, that'll be using an axe, and they'll do it really competently, and that's because there's a mutual trust and because we've enabled them to take part in those activities.
We've been playing, we've been like going on hammocks and making stuff out of wood and climbing. I really like to do cooking because it's really fun. I always wanted to do cooking, but it's a bit hard, but when I'm here I'm allowed to do cooking if I want.
The holiday provision in Northumberland is unique in lots of ways across the UK because we've got the development of a Young Leaders programme that sits hand in hand with it. And the Young Leaders programme is again young leader led, so child led, young person led. And it comes from lots of different places. One, it comes from how do we offer provision during the holidays for older young people who also have holidays. But it also comes from strong messages from children and young people who ask for experiences that will ready them for life, that will ready them for work.
I want to work with kids and stuff, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, that'd be really good, and already having experience with them, it'd be help us more.
Being that a little bit older than the smaller children, I feel like they listen to it probably a little bit more than they would with an adult, because you've obviously with adults, I think children kind of forget that they're human too. Or with people who are just teenagers, they've just done the same sorts of stuff as you, and they just it means you can make a closer friendship with them.
As someone with high functioning autism, I've found somewhere that actually wants to help me grow and wants to help me have experiences. I was worried that I wouldn't be, accepted, but definitely coming here and knowing that I almost have a quote-unquote duty to do when I come here, it feels nice, because in my head I thought I couldn't do something like this, but I finally am, and it's going really well.
They're accessible role models for young people. Some of the outcomes we've had and the stories and things that wouldn't have happened without that conduit of a young person being part of the staff team, it is just incredible. They're braver and they take more risks and they do the climbing and all the rest of it that some of the more mature staff, let's say, wouldn't. So they're right there with the youngsters, but also they're fundamental to the programming. They say, oh well, that wouldn't really work, or oh, should we try that? So they're instrumental in the design, which of course supports the ongoing engagement. The children continue to come and they trust them, they have relationships, they've grown up, they understand what it's like to be from that place, living that life, being in that school even, whatever it is.
I joined the Young Leaders because I saw it in assembly, and I've thought about joining the past few years, but I've been too nervous. And I was like, you know what, just go for it. So I did, and I came and spoke to Lynn and Hannah, and they were great. Since I'm nearly 16, I was planning looking for a job, and I feel like the workspace and environment it's in, I feel like that's kind of a head start in the way. It's helped us a lot with like my social skills and like getting out of my box a lot, because I'm usually, depending on what I'm doing, have a lot of anxiety when it comes to stuff like this.
There's a game called Copycat. So I'm going to play something and you have to listen to it, you have to play it straight back, okay? So if I play 1, 2, 3, you.
We're Benabiscop High School, which I go here. We're using St Cuthbert's block that's where we like have register and breakfast and they have their lunches and breaks. And then, so they come in and they have breakfast and then we'll have like a first activity. So today our first activity was crafts.
We did t-shirt making and I'm wearing mine. It's got a horse on. Her name's Katen and she's my auntie's horse. The highlight of this has been the dinners every day. They've just been full of flavour, basically just flavour packed. They've been really nice. They're not too chewy, dry or like damp. They're just perfect and it's really nice. Just when you've had a long day of activities, it's just nice to have a dinner. And I normally have seconds and thirds every day.
I think the beauty of our provision is that it is so mixed, it's diverse. We've got arts and crafts stuff because that's what youngsters in that area love and that's what the skill sets that are in the place as well. We've got dancing, we've got drama, we've got outdoor theatre, and it's really important to see what is that's in a place that we can grow and develop and invest in, rather than bringing in providers who don't have relationships with local people and see what's there. The real beauty of that is then when you can cross-pollinate. So for example, we've got youngsters coming over from the west of Northumberland, which isn't near the coast, over onto the beach. We've got surfing, which is amazing because we've got fabulous coastline.
Feeling the glide, 1, 2, 3, and down, step up. Flag your front foot, twist up, start at the beach.
Before I come here, I never knew how to use a surfboard, but now I know how to use one.
I've been taught quite a lot, starting off with like all the different parts of the surfboard and like how to surf. So it's like mainly helped me find something to do over the holidays.
Saying like help something to do and like build my confidence to go in the water, because I used to prefer just going like in like leisure centres to go in like public pools where like there's not like wildlife, but now since I've done this, it's built my confidence to go in this water in the ocean.
I'd agree.
If I wasn't here, I'd probably just be sitting inside playing on my Xbox and stuff.
In Northumberland, we are so proud of our assets and how fabulous a county it is, and we've got amazing places to visit that tourists come and visit, but quite often our families themselves haven't been. For example, we've got safari at Ingram Valley, which is part of our offer this summer for families who maybe haven't accessed it, maybe live not terribly far away, and they go and they see deer and sheepdog trials and everything for the day and have the lunch. It's incredible.
On our farm visits, safaris, we just aim to give people a snapshot of what happens out the farm here. We like them to see the landscape, the animals. We have sheep, we have cattle. A little more rarely for this area, we have some red deer. And it just gives them that few hours just to see the animals, see the bulls, the stags, the hinds, and just a little snapshot of how our land is farmed here and how we're harking back to maybe olden days as well, and hopefully in a natural way we do it. These deer, keep them in good order, they could have anywhere between 10 and 14 crops, so you can quite regularly see 14 and 15-year-old deer looking just like us to produce things. People don't necessarily get to come out the countryside maybe as much as they would like to, and just being able to give them a flavour of it, we feel is really important, and we think, hope they get a lot out of it.
I think the funding is vital because during the pandemic it was proven that nature and well-being are totally interlinked. Even 15 minutes of looking at nature even through a digital platform helps well-being. Well, to come to this amazing valley, it's the perfect antidote to the modern stresses of modern day life.
I like when people come here seeing the bulls and the stags. You've got a 1.5 ton animal in the middle of a field and you don't see that every day. And there's always a fascination that they're reasonably friendly, but to get up and close to such big animals and the red deer, you don't normally get that experience. To see people's faces when they get up close to the animals, I think that's the best part. And they seem to come alive, so makes it all the more satisfying. It's going to be important that all families from all backgrounds are included in this, and we can give them the experience then to come out the countryside and spend some time out here and see the joy that the whole families, the children and parents get from seeing the countryside.
A big part of our provision is finding groups and organisations who support youngsters who, for whatever reason, may have a difficult time, maybe disadvantaged, maybe summer's difficult, whatever it is, and how we invest in them. Good example of this would be Little Miracles, who work with youngsters with additional and complex needs, quite acute in some cases, and they work with our community hubs. They run groups out of there, and they've done a series of trips this summer specifically for their groups, which is just incredible. They've had an amazing summer. They've had weekly trips and they're finishing off with a big party.
For us as a group, it's about making sure our families can access every activity that children without disabilities can access. So important things for to do are making sure we had the beach wheelchairs so the kids can get down on the beach, making sure that we had quiet places where the children could relax, making sure that we had entertainers that recognised and understood children with additional needs, and making sure that every child has a fantastic time and every family make memories. Little Miracles was founded over 15 years ago by a wonderful lady called Susan Dixon. She recognised that families with children with life-limiting conditions and additional needs really struggled getting out in our community and getting out and reaching out and getting involved in activities.
One of the things I realised is that these parents and their children didn't have any social activities. So that's the reason I started getting parents and children together. So for socialising, and the group just expanded from there. It went from 2 or 3 parents to now we have about 60 to 70 members of the group. And we're not just for the children and the parents, but for the extended family as well, because they all need support when they have a child with additional needs. Wouldn't have been able to do any of this without that funding at all.
No, and I think we did ask for some feedback from parents last week just to see how they felt it had gone. And the comments that we got were that it's helped people feel less isolated, it's helped them financially. Times are really challenging for people money-wise at the moment, and a lot of our parents have had to give up their jobs to care for their children. They've said it's helped them be able to afford days out they'd never have been able to. Also though, I think it's we've actually supported quite a lot of small businesses and spending the money. So we've used a really small cafe who's provided lots of the food, or today at Charlton's, he's getting business from us here, to bigger businesses like we've been at Beamish and White House Farm, but also the smaller ones. We went to Blythe Beach and we used the fish and chip shop there. So I think we've actually supported lots of Northumberland businesses. So that money, even though it's been given to us to do stuff for the kids, has actually gone back into our community. There's no salaries or anything for us. It's all gone into local businesses. Everything's been spent on that, which I think is really positive as well.
It's great that Department of Education have seen the value of holiday provision, and that the investment coming from them and others like National Lottery Community Fund have allowed us to get on and deliver more of this impact to more and more families. It's easy to dismiss things like holiday provision, things like family trips and lunches out and enrichment and days at the forest schools or whatever it is, but these are fundamental moments in childhood, and the freedom they've got to do what they want to do at the pace they want to do, and to try new things and to try jumping and to try falling, important, safely, with others who are there supporting them and cheering them on, and people, adults in the background who want them to be safe but want them also to be free. These are just gifts for children in the holidays, and really ready them for life in all the ways we want, but it's at their pace and it's gentle and calm. I love it all day long.